Hello, fabulous friends and fans. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you so much for being here. This video is on sun signs and moon signs. And this is something I'm often asked about. In fact, recently I was asked to create one of these special topic videos on this topic. And the request came from a friend and fan just like yourself on social media. So thank you so much to all of you who interact with me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and of course my website, nadiyashah.com. And so I did want to talk a little bit about this because I know in my horoscope videos I like to mention, and a lot of people have asked me over the years, can I watch the video for my moon sign? Can I watch it for my rising sign as well? So let me talk about those three things actually now that I have you here: sun, moon, and rising sign. So the sun is in a chart, right? At the moment that you take your first breath, you become a part of everyone and everything. And that forms the basis of your exact birth chart that I look at when I'm doing a personalized horoscope or when I have a client or even when I'm looking at my own chart actually. And where the sun is typically called your sun sign. So it basically is what sign was the sun in at the moment of your birth. And the sun is a symbol of where it is that you find your core, where it is that you find your center. If you look at the glyph of the sun, it really is just a circle with a dot in the middle. And that's because it really is where you find your light, your core, your center, where you step into yourself more fully over the course of a lifetime. And I see the sun very much as a process. It's not something that you just sort of born and boom, you've got these characteristics. No, it's about you walking a journey over the course of your life where you get to fully manifest and in the best circumstances bring forward the highest qualities that energy that is the sign represents. It's where you really come into yourself more fully over the course of this lifetime, understanding, as I said, the higher end of that sign and the characteristics of that sign, because every sign has a spectrum of manifestation. So if you think about it, every sign, like we could say, let's take, for example, Aries. Aries can sometimes be thought of as impulsive. Okay, that's one manifestation. But another manifestation is really about being true to yourself, really understanding yourself and your instincts so strongly that you're able to live from that place in a very direct way. And that's the higher end. And if you are born with a sun in Aries, then chances are that this is a life lesson for you. Maybe when you were young, there was a little bit of impulsiveness there, but slowly but surely you come to step more into the higher qualities of the sign of Aries over the course of your life. Now, your moon sign is, the moon changes. Now the sun, just like there is a sun sign that changes every 30 days, that's because the sun changes signs every 30 days. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days. And this is partly why, one reason why, you can meet two people of the same sign, but really express themselves very differently. The moon in a chart represents where it is that you feel most comfortable, what it is that gives you a sense of emotional fulfillment. It is, among other things, it is what you need to feel cared for by yourself and by others as well. And when you are looking at a horoscope for your moon sign, you have to understand in the concept of, if I look at these energies that are at play from the perspective of my moon, then you are likely to further help yourself to reinforce a sense of emotional familiarity and emotional comfort. You're further able to feed a part of your soul, and that ultimately is what the moon is about. It's about feeding a part of your soul. Now, because the moon changes so much, you are going to have to look at a birth chart, look at your birth chart to determine the exact position, exact sign of the moon, or even a moon table. And there are tons and tons of resources online where you can do that. Really, a simple search will allow you to find a lot of free resources that can allow you to do that, to find out your moon sign. But when you look at, when you listen to a horoscope, when you watch a horoscope in my case, or read a horoscope, if you can look at it from the light of, okay, this is advice, this is insight that's going to help me to further take care of a deeper emotional need that I have, and look at the sun sign as a perspective of, this is going to help me empower myself to become more me, to bring forward the best, then that allows you, those two elements together act as layers to a more complete picture, not only to the period ahead, but also to help you strategize your period ahead as well. And then there's your rising sign. So your rising sign is the exact point in the east at the moment that you were born. So when you look at a chart, okay, a chart wheel, for those of you who are students of astrology, or even if you're not, if you've ever had the chance to look at a wheel that astrologers use, what that is a reflection of is the moment that you took your first breath. And you are essentially at the very center of that wheel. So when you were born, if someone were to step outside at the moment that you took that first breath and became connected to everyone and everything, and looked all the way to the east, they would see your rising sign. And what you see at the eastern point, the ascending sign, the ascendant point in your chart, is what someone who was looking outside would have seen if they looked at the eastern horizon. When I think about the ascending sign, I think about this idea of masks, okay? So I know that sometimes people say that masks are not a good thing, but I actually think they're very wise and they have a purpose. And sometimes that purpose is really good and really awesome. And it's been said by many philosophers. I think about Ibn Arabi, who was hugely influential in my work as a graduate student, who really believed that everything is in the chart the way it is to help us bring forward our maximum potential. And so those things that you think, oh, I wish that was different, I wish that wasn't there, I wish I didn't need that, and even if it's a mask, that's actually there to help you fulfill the highest potential for which you were created. And this is according to Ibn Arabi. And so I share this with you because I do think, as I look at an ascending sign, that it really is an ascending sign that acts as a mask of sorts, and it is the ascending sign that represents the very first impression that we make when we meet new people, okay? So once you've known somebody, or if you're in an environment where you feel really comfortable, then you will have other parts of you sort of dominate, other parts of you come forward depending on the environment. But when you are first walking into a brand new environment, where you really don't know anybody, maybe the environment itself is very new, or it's the people that are very new, then chances are the first impression that you're making as you are meeting these people is the ascending sign. Now, because the ascending sign is linked to the birth chart, right? It really is based on the moment of your birth. You really do need to have your exact time of birth to determine exactly where your ascending sign is. And if you don't have that, then what you would do is called rectification. And you would consult an astrologer to have a rectified chart done. And every astrologer goes about that a little bit differently, but there are techniques that astrologers can use to figure out what your ascending sign likely is. But the ascending sign not only is the impression you make, but it's also the mask that you learn to wear to really help yourself navigate, especially in light of the fact that all of us have a part of us that is very sensitive. And so it helps you protect that very sensitive part that maybe you bring forward in other contexts, or once you're more comfortable with a person, or once you really know somebody, or you're in an environment that feels a little bit more natural to you. Once you've felt the situation out, then other parts of you can come forward. But what the ascendant does is it helps you to stay safe. And that's the main thing. Now, depending on the system of astrology, the ascendant can mean a whole bunch of different things. But if we're looking at your horoscope from the perspective of the ascendant, you have to remember that a lot of horoscopes are based on the house system. So a lot of the sun signs you read or you watch or you listen to are based on what's happening in the sky in relation to where the sun is. And when you are looking at a video based on your rising sign, you really are looking at that video, or you're reading that horoscope from the perspective of your birth chart. So you're looking at where those energies are being experienced in light of your unique birth chart. And it is through your unique birth chart that adds another layer to looking at the period ahead, looking at what's likely to come up for you to learn from, what you could take advantage of. And so you put these three together, and the three of them act as layers. And yes, sometimes there are some charts that are very contradictory. So sometimes a person will be born on a full moon, which means the moon was in an opposite sign from their sun. And so the horoscopes can seem to be totally contradicting each other, even though I think of them as opposites of the same polarity. At the same time, it can seem like, for example, if you have your sun in the first house, for students of astrology out there, if you have your sun in the first house, moon in the seventh house, well, the first house is about you, what really matters to you, your independence, your sense of self, and what's most important. The seventh house is about others. It's about relating. It's about partnership. And they can seem to be at opposite ends, but if you think about it, they're really not, because ultimately it is about relationships. And ultimately relationships are about you seeing yourself as reflected in the eyes of another and you being made better as a result of those interactions. And so if you can try to understand even what seems contradictory on the surface, if you can go a little bit deeper, understand it as a layer to interpretation, and see how it speaks to your life, that can help you tremendously form a more complete picture ahead. And also, I do want to mention there are going to be times in life when you resonate more strongly with the moon than you would the sun, or you resonate more strongly with your video horoscope for the period ahead for your rising sign than for your sun sign. And then that brings in a whole other level of your own philosophical orientation, how you are interacting with the sky, because how you are choosing to interact with the sky is going to speak volumes to how the sky speaks to you. And the sun, as a representative of the future and where you're going, when you're very minded on that, when you are focused on where you're going and about having clarity and about having a sense of self, you're going to find the sun sign videos speak more strongly to you. When you are in a position where you want to feel safe, you want to feel comfortable, you want to feel a sense of emotional security, you're going to find the moon sign videos speak more strongly to you. And when you are in a place where you are just looking at your own individual journey, your own individual path, in a more balanced way, in a more thorough, not necessarily thorough, but I think a more accurate way to put it is, if you're looking at your life in perspective of, okay, I've got all these different energies playing out, I've got all these different parts of me, so let's see what's going on and how I can balance it all out, how I can maximize where I am, then the horoscope based on your rising sign, if you watch the video of your rising sign, that's probably going to speak to you more strongly. And I would encourage you to experiment with this. Maybe take a year, okay, because I've been here doing videos for a little while now. So take a year and watch all three and make a note of which one is speaking to you most strongly. And also look at what's going on with you in your own life. What is it that you are wanting more at any particular period? And look at what videos are most speaking to you in your circumstances at those different times. And I think you will find that your own interaction with the sky really is magnified at your own reflection. And I think what you will also find is a deeper connection to the sky forms as a result of your contemplation as well, which ultimately is the point of astrology. Ultimately, the point of astrology is to affirm that we are all connected to everyone and everything, and that your individual life matters in the unfolding of the beauty, love, and wisdom of the universe. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have any special requests, special topics in astrology that you would like me to look at, please reach out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and whatever else I'm on, because I'm on so many social medias now. And of course, my website, nadiyashah.com. Until we connect again, take care.